Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Genuine Chit-Chat. Just a reminder guys, I guest in another podcast called the Christmas Past podcast, hosted by Brian Earl. I'm in the episode called Christmas Advertising. I have a short 2-minute segment in that. I just talk about what I like about Christmas, and I think it's really cool. So yeah, go check out the Christmas Past podcast. And once again, I've included the links to the Christmas Past podcast in the description, so yeah, go check that out. So this week is part 2 of my chat with Carla. We talk about childhood, what it's like being a kid, and also we get into being a victim and accepting help when you need it and how difficult that can be. We speak about the difference in generations, like our grandparents and our parents, like how they were raised and sort of why they acted the way they did to some degree. And towards the end of the podcast, we talk about what we would do if we were given like a large sum of money, how we would use it to try and, pursue our hobbies as well as helping the community and things. It's a really interesting chat. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and if you feel like the show deserves it, you can leave a review on iTunes, and I really appreciate it. It helps out a lot. Anyway, on to part 2. Welcome to Genuine Chit Chat, where we have honest conversations with interesting people. And I'm your host, Mike Burton. Just want to have that robot penis right in your face. That's part of the podcast.
As long as it's Bender from Futurama.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'd want... I think Bender's probably the robot out of all robots I know that I'd want the least in my face.
I don't know. I love him. I do.
His shiny metal ass. I do love Futurama. I loved the first four seasons were amazing, and then the 4 mini movies, 2 of them were amazing and 2 of them were alright. And then because there was I think it was Bender's Big Game, Into the Wild Green Yonder, and then there were 2 other ones as well. I've started recording by the way as well.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice and natural. Even though I've said it now, so it's ruined it. I need to get one of those like lights, like the sort of air light.
On air.
Yeah.
No, I do love Bender. He's Jake the dog.
Yeah, his voice
in
is.
Adventure Time.
I can't remember the guy's name is. I think it sounds Spanish. His name.
Joe Truglio.
Joe Truglio. No, that's the guy who plays Boyle in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's not the same guy.
I don't know why I thought of that then.
Yeah, that's Joe Truglio. Yeah, he's Italian, I think. Because a lot of American heritage is Italian.
Are you looking it up?
No.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the thing. I'm trying to be subtle on the podcast. The thing with my laptop, you hear the keys. Like I can't even pretend to type on the laptop so people could hear it because it's recording and it'll stop the recording.
Bender Rodriguez.
Yep, Bender Rodriguez. Can you roll your R's? It's John DiMaggio.
John DiMaggio.
So you're pretty bloody close there, but yeah, because Joe Truglio, I think, is the guy.
It's similar in terms of how you would pronounce the syllables, I guess.
Yeah, well, if I just Google it just quickly so I'm not wrong.
DiMaggio.
Yeah, Jolo Truglio. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they are very, very close, sort of name-wise. But, yeah, John DiMaggio. Yeah, he's great in Adventure Time. He's great. He's great in Adventure Time and Futurama.
And, Leela.
What about her?
I love her.
I was in love with her when I was younger.
I've dressed up as her for a party once.
That's amazing. I don't know, I think I was such a lonely kid when I was younger. I remember my first ever crush, celebrity crush, was Willow from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
John Malkovich.
Yours was John Malkovich?
Yeah, from Annie Lennox music video to Walking on Broken Glass.
Okay, I haven't seen that, but I've seen the film Being John Malkovich.
I have too.
It's a great movie. It's very weird.
Have you in Red? He's amazing in Red.
No, I've heard he's good in Red. I think my mate Reese. I don't have to. There's certain people who've been on the podcast. I don't have to say my mate blank because the first podcast I did was Reese. So yeah, he saw Red and he recommended it. He said it's surprising because the trailer makes it look shit. It looks like there's a washed up actors trying to do an action movie. But he said
washed up actors.
Well, no, but that's
how dare you?
Of course, I love Morgan Freeman and Bruce Willis and is it Helen Mirren or
Helen Mirren? Yeah.
Helen Mirren and John Malkovich. They're all great, but I mean, like, I'm not saying they are washed up, but when you see a film like that, or like when they're playing on the fact that they're old, you kind of look at it and go, is their career dried up a bit? Is this all they can do now? But that film was so well received. and everyone loved it. And obviously,
it's a really good movie.
Yeah, I've heard it's amazing. Obviously, Bruce Willis. I don't know if John Malkovich. Still
I love
much
Bruce
since
Willis.
Then. Bruce Willis has
I've
been
got a bit of an
non-stop.
old man crush on Bruce Willis.
I see. Who else is in that film? Morgan Freeman's obviously always a hero.
Oh, he's a legend.
Helen Mirren's great in everything she's in. So it's just like they're all fantastic actors, and since then they've been great. But it's like, it's like there's a point. Last Vegas, which in another podcast, Alex was telling me that Last Vegas is a really good film. It's got. I think it's it's either Michael Douglas or Michael Keaton. I can't remember which one. Morgan Freeman. I think. Robert De Niro, and they're kind of like, they're meant to be like pensioners almost, and they go to Las Vegas as their last kind of lads holiday sort of thing, even though they're all super old.
Right.
And exactly. The way you're looking at me, it's some shit. But apparently it's really good. But that kind of film, when you get, hey, here's loads of old actors, and the film is pointing out the fact they're old, you're like, Do you know what I mean?
I don't. I think that's acceptance. I think that's owning the fact that they're getting older and going for parts that are still within their range. In fact, making it awesome to be older, because older people are more awesome these days, aren't they? They can live healthier lives.
That's the point. You can have films which have got really awesome old people in it, but the thing is, when you have a film which is almost, a lot of the time it's joking about them being old, and all the jokes are just like with Las Vegas. The trailer looks like it's just loads of jokes about people being old, and it's like, I know those jokes. It's like it's not original, and also it's like. It's almost the same thing as when you have young actors all in teen movies. I'm not saying teen movies are bad, but it's like everyone in this is a teen, they're all acting the same, it's all that sort of stuff. The variety of characters is limited because they're all these sort of, they're playing on the stereotypes in a way. They're playing, teenagers, like Superbad. I love the film Superbad. It is fucking amazing. I looked like Jonah Hill very much when I was younger. But it's like, that's probably a bad example because it's a bit different. But all these sort of films on your teenagers, they're sex obsessed, they're obsessed with drugs, drinking, this sort of thing, and they're stupid.
Kick-Ass.
Well, Kick-Ass is amazing, yeah, but that's a superhero movie more than a teen movie.
And based on a comic as well, so it kind of doesn't count, doesn't it?
That's why it's brutal and stuff, it's a graphic novel.
Yeah.
It's like, when you get a film which is just all people who are like 60 to 80, and the whole film is about them being that age, it's not as interesting necessarily as when you've got an old person who's a badass in the film with loads of other people who are badasses and different.
It depends
things.
on the movie, I guess. I understand now if you're thinking in terms of action movie rather than other types of movie. I get that now.
Yeah, because it's like it's almost the gimmick of the film isn't being old. You know what I mean? That's But in Red, I've heard.
But it doesn't mean they're any less awesome.
Oh yeah, well, it's just I saw the trailer and I just thought, you've just got loads of old actors in it and just made an action film about it.
It's like, have you never heard stories of when people have tried to rob people who are like ex-world champion at boxing or something, and they've ended up in really bad situations, and these old people are like 80 and they're taking them down like nothing.
I'd love it.
And it happens.
One of the
Not
best...
to the degree it is maybe in the movie, but...
Well, one of the things I love seeing in... like YouTube videos or anything like that is when you get kids kids are like picking on one kid and then there's one kid just fucks them up. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
There's one I saw. There's this. I think there was this sort of skinny, smallish kid, and he's been picked on by a kid who wasn't muscly, but he was kind of fat and a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And the bigger kid was like pushing him, and the other kid was walking away. So I don't want to hit you or anything like that. I was trying to get away, and the other kid was trying to push him over and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think he just turned around, and just whacked him once in the face, and he
just dropped.
And it was like, you deserve it. I'm not an advocate of violence.
No.
If someone's doing that to you, it's like, well, you deserve it. I'm not saying you should hit someone, but if you get hit doing that, you deserve it.
Yeah, my dad, and you wouldn't believe it now, my dad is 6'3", built like a brick shit house. He's huge. And when he was younger, he wasn't big. He was skinny and tall.
Yeah. And
he got picked on, particularly by these 3 boys. They would always pick on him. And one day he didn't have it anymore, and there was blood everywhere. He broke a few noses, and they didn't bully him again.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, you need to stand up for yourself. And also my nephew Daniel, he's had issues with bullies, and he's also, I believe, got Asperger's, and he's going through diagnosis for that at the moment.
Yeah.
So he's had issues with his anger in the past, but he's gotten to the point now where he's doing really well, and these kids will bully him and be nasty to him, and he just won't raise his voice, he won't get angry. But this one particular day, these boys had gone for him all day, And it wasn't until they gave up on him and went for his friend that my nephew went over there and hit one of them.
Yeah.
And it's because he was doing it for somebody else as well. Like, Stan, he won't do that for himself because he's been told not to.
Yeah.
But it's seeing his friend getting picked on pushed him over the edge.
Oh yeah, well, people can get pushed over the edge.
And
really
sometimes these kids need to learn that they can't be little dicks.
It's such a hard thing with kids, isn't it? Because when I was a kid, I was bullied, and I suppose I wouldn't say I ever fully bullied people, but I found, looking back, I was a bit more a dick to people than I should have been.
And I agree completely. I was at times as well.
Yeah, and the problem is, if you're a young kid and if you either think you're smart or if you know you're smart, which is what I had the issue with, and I had trouble with my own ego until, Christ, I'd probably say about 16-ish was around the time I kind of started to realise and curb it a little bit. But it's like, before then, I just thought I was so much smarter than everyone else that it just... When your parents or family or whatever are trying to be supportive of you and they're, oh, you're such a bright child and stuff like that, you kind of... Not all kids obviously have this, but certain kids, I was one of them, got in his head, I was like, I'm intelligent, I'm smart, I'm, not... Because my brothers are so much older than me, like, one of my brothers is 17 years older than me, and I think the other one is 20 years older than me-ish, I think. And so when I'd hang out, if I'd ever hang out with them, and if they had any friends about, I would, when I was younger, one of the things, like my family thought, one of the reasons they thought I was so intelligent was because when I was like 10, could talk to like a 30-year-old and have normal conversation with them. And it wasn't like I was a child. Of
course, that's smart. And it might have been made better by the fact you had those people around you. But I think initially anyway, if other kids... it's like with Maya... Maya can talk to adults.
Yeah.
Maya can have a full-blown conversation with you.
Yeah.
And use quite complicated words for someone her age.
Yeah, my niece who's 11, so I think Emily you've met.
Yeah. And kids, she just doesn't have any friends, really. Yeah. She's got my friends' boys, who she's known since she was younger. But when in school, she had one friend.
Yeah.
One friend. And it broke my heart. Kids are nasty when someone's different.
Oh, yeah.
And when I was a kid, I've never given a shit what anyone thinks of me.
Yeah.
I think I'm great, so that's fine. I was popular and I had friends, and I don't understand what it's like.
Yeah.
To not have that, and it makes me sad when people don't.
Especially when it's your kids, you can't do anything to control it. There's nothing you can do. Well, when I was a kid, as I said, I was very unpopular first in primary school and whatnot. And then secondary school, I was also very unpopular because I was a smart alecky dickhead who would talk back to all the teachers so they'd all hate me, and then talk down to all my fellow classmates because I thought I was so much smarter than them. Which maybe I was, but that does not... it takes a while for you to realise, first of all, even if you are, as a fact, somehow you're smarter than everyone else, you don't have to be a dick about it. You don't have to mention it.
There's intelligence and then there's knowledge.
Well, there's wisdom as well.
Or wisdom, yeah. You may have been smarter, but you don't have to lord it over people.
Also...
And especially when you think about it, if you know all of this stuff and you are that smart, try and help them understand it too.
Well, that's the thing, yeah, exactly. I mean, when... I think intelligence is like 80% genetic anyway. So it's just like, if you're... I believe that when I see stupid people, it does annoy me, but it's more when there's stupid, ignorant people,
Yeah, ignorance is worse.
Yeah, if you don't know everything about science or technology, or you don't know
what your grammar's not quite correct, or you can't spell...
I've got no problem with any of that.
Even if people aren't capable of even writing, it doesn't mean that they aren't able.
Yeah, exactly. Intelligence is measured in so many different ways, and the thing is with me is, as long as you're not a dick, that's fine. That's it. You can be the smartest guy in the world, or you can be the dumbest. If you're nice, that's cool. That's all. That's all you want. When you're younger, I think the problem is as well, especially when I was a teenager, is you have all these insecurities and stuff, but a lot of them haven't even... They're there, but you don't even know they're there. So you can't even identify them because you just... I know that when I was a teenager, especially, a lot of teenage boys and girls get this, where you've just got this rage, this anger almost, just this, a lot of time it comes out as teenage angst and that sort of thing as well.
Yeah.
It's just like, you've got
I had
this,
a lot.
Yeah. And it's like, you have a lot of these feelings in you and you don't even understand them at all or even what could be causing them. You're just in the present, this 1 second, you're angry and that's that. And then you just inadvertently take out other people and then you think everyone else is wrong and you're fine. And it just, when you're younger, it's so difficult because you just can't, you don't have any self-awareness and you can't self-reflect because your brain isn't at that stage yet. Like, I'm not saying no children can self-reflect, but it's in general, it's like the frontal lobes that control, it's through the personality and stuff, but they also control your impulse and stuff. They don't fully mature till you're 25. So up till being 25, generally people are much more impulsive because, and a lot of time people get brain damage and stuff like that. They can become a lot more impulsive and things like that because that's where it's developed. So that's why when people get to like 25 to 30, they seem way more mature than when they're like 20 to 25. So obviously life experience helps you grow progressively anyway, but it's a biological thing of, your impulse control is so much better when you're 25.
Oh, that's good.
And one of the things for me, I think my frontal lobe maybe developed a little bit earlier when I was maybe a bit younger, just because I've always had insanely good impulse control and moderation control when I've been down to my own devices. Like, I was very overweight as a kid, and I was probably overweight till I was about 20. But once I moved away from home, and I had full control, I just lost weight straight away, and it's like, when I had control of it, or moderation, and I'm quite organised and that sort of jazz, and I'm quite an organised individual, and that sort of thing, and people know me, I have obviously drank too much, I'm not saying I've never drank too much, I've never eaten too much, or anything like that, but there's certain people who, it's not necessarily a huge issue, but there's certain people who, they see something they want to buy, they just buy it, they just do, I've dated people in the past who are a bit like that, and you get these people who are like that. But me, like, my cousin Charlotte, who is going to be on the podcast at some point, she said to me the other week or something, when I was off work, and obviously I've said I got the new job recently, I was off work, and she was like, I'm amazed at how productive you've been, off these last 7 weeks or whatever, you've managed to do this. I'm obviously going to list everything I did off, because no one really cares. But it's like, I achieved quite a lot while I was off, but I said to her, I was like, the thing is that it's nice to be praised and whatever, but I didn't go out and do these productive things for any reason apart from I just felt like I kind of needed to. It's just how I'm wired, And it's like, I'm just wired to be organised, I'm wired to have good impulse control, and I'm wired to be productive. And it's like, I'm not saying no one should ever get credit when they do these sorts of things, but with me personally, it's just like, I kind of feel bad for getting praise of any kind.
You don't need validation for it.
Yeah, it's like, I don't do
but you should appreciate that person's trying to make you feel good, because that's what that's for.
Yeah, I really appreciate the compliment. That's the thing with me and compliments, is just like, I always thank people for the compliments and I appreciate them, I just rarely agree with them, But it's the dystopian ego that I have now, where when I was younger, I just thought I was so fucking awesome, and I just thought I was intelligent. When I first had sex and stuff, I thought I was the god of the clit, which obviously I'm fucking not. Jesus
Christ. They never are.
No, especially not then. It was like, I made a woman orgasm, therefore I know everything. It's like, no, that's, 16-year-old Mike needed a punch in the face and the nuts. I've actually said numerous times before that I really needed to be punched in the face like 3 or 4 more times than I did when I was younger. Like, I just really, there's these moments I look back at myself and I'm just go, why did no one punch me right in the face? It's just, nothing grounds you like being hit in the face. And I think I've only been hit in the face like 3 times.
I've never been hit in the face other than my child.
Okay, I don't want anyone to be punched in the face. I just think that me, when I was younger, I could have... a punch in the face probably would have been... Well, I had 3, I think, I can recall. I think I could have probably benefited from a few more of that to kind of get me off my fucking ego.
I was a fantastic child.
You were?
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Life was great. I was a little bit of a brat, though, because I was the youngest of 4 girls. So I'll admit that now, though. Yeah. And I love my sisters. We're all really close now.
Yeah. Well, I was never like a bad kid. Like, I was never necessarily that horrible. I was just, the reason that some people thought I was like autistic when I was younger and stuff, because it was empathy. That was the issue. I only really started developing empathy. It's probably when I was about 17. Think about it. It was quite late. I used to be able to watch sad films and be like, pfft. Now I watch Forrest Gump and it's like, I can't even get to the end of it. When he's crying over Jenny's grave, it's like, nope, can't. Yeah. Obviously, personal experience as well, but it's like.
But do you think potentially that could be down to hormones? Because I think that hormones have a lot more to. They affect our bodies a lot more than people realise, and everyone has a hormonal cycle, men included.
That's every 6 weeks for men, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, but women's is like 28 days.
Yeah.
Lunar cycle.
Yep. It's like, yeah. It's so weird being human because it's like you have to kind of be responsible for everything, yet you are solely a product of your genetics as well as all the experiences that happen to you.
I don't agree with the genetics because this is my vessel. This is not me.
Yeah, but you have to, like, there's scientific evidence showing that when you've got someone who's abusive in the family, even if you haven't had interaction with them, if they're generations away, the ancestry is more likely to have that because it's a disposition. Your brain is an organic computer. And
yes.
Obviously, when two organic computers create another organic computer, it's using what they have biologically to make another one. So when you often get families where like all the families are like alcoholics or abusives, or when you get serial killers a lot of the time, you can get it where you get serial killers, you go back 3 generations or something, and they were a serial killer, and it's like.
I did not know that.
It's things like that, like when people have a strong lacking of empathy, that's basically what gives people psychopathy. And it's like, if your biological computer has a glitch in it, and you make another computer by replicating part of your
and that glitch is incorporated.
Exactly, that's all genetics are. It's like, you get genetic hereditary diseases and stuff.
Like Crohn's.
Well, yeah, exactly, like Crohn's. So you get these diseases that are genetic. Well, you also get. Like your brain is an organ / muscle, which is who you talk to. So if you can get born like cerebral palsy or anything like that, if any of those things are hereditary, your brain is still biological as well. So if there's one tiny microscopic part of your mum's brain that isn't there, when you get born and you're created from using that as essentially in a template. That part of you may not be there as well. So there's certain families.
So it may be,
but it
may not be.
Well, there's also nature. There is obviously nurture. Nurture is a big part of it. When with the alcoholic family thing, it's like you could argue that if your parents are alcoholics, it makes alcoholism more of a normal thing. Therefore, you're more.
Yeah. Nature versus nurture debate. You could go on.
Well, the thing is, it's wrong. The debate itself is wrong because it's both. That's the thing.
It's the combination, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's okay. So this is what this is, and it's been triggered by a combination of this.
Yeah.
And everything isn't black and white.
Nothing is. It's just grey area, isn't it?
You can't say it's just one thing.
No.
When you've got several different variables. If you look at it like an experiment, you've got several different uncontrolled variables on this one thing, and you can't really do an experiment like that.
No, exactly. That's the thing. And with the human existence as well, it's impossible to capture and record every person's experience and everything they've ever done, and all these sorts of things.
Yeah.
You just can't. And if you could record one person, that's not a good enough sample. You'd have to have 1 million, And the thing is, with the genetic thing as well, is like if you put 2 genetically identical children in 2 different scenarios, then they've done it with twin studies
twins.
and stuff.
My sisters are identical twins.
Oh yeah,
and cool. There's been things.
Yeah, so it's like there is the biology part is part of it, but it's like it's so...
one of them's got diabetes, the other one hasn't, but they've both got the same end result of those things. So both of them have scarred kidneys, and both of them have reduced liver function. But they got there through different means. One got it there through diabetes, and the other one got there through a different autoimmune disease.
That's really weird.
That's quite bizarre.
Yeah.
And one of them had surgery this year, in May, on her stomach, and the other one's hernia came up whilst the operation was going on, and she had to have her stomach operated on.
There's a lot of weird things. It's like I can't remember what the study was exactly, but it was something like they had a thing where there was 2. I think it's a study of a few groups of biologically, because there's identical twins. There's only twins. There's identical twins.
Yeah.
And it was like I think it was like they recorded it was a certain amount of identical twins. I can't remember what it was, and some of them got split up, and some of them when they got split up, they did the exact same. They liked the exact same music, went down the exact same career path, and everything was like literally completely different parts of
like even to wearing the same clothes.
Yeah, and they because from birth, the way it is, I say, is it's like the you start with a base, like almost like a foundation sort of thing, and then every experience from you being born, everything that makes you you is that initial thing as a reactant. But every time you react, it grows. So you've got to say that you can mention like I think I've used the analogy before, like a tree almost. You have like the main trunk of the tree, which is just made. That's your genetics. That's when you're a baby. Okay.
Yeah.
And then from then, every experience that you have makes a branch grow, or makes a branch get cut off, or does this, or does that, and it's all these things of like, you know, if you have two different shaped and different density trees in the same storm, they're going to be different. They're going to be different for each other at the end of that storm, and that's the same with people. Two people can go through the same thing, but they can, because they can be different.
They're made of different stuff.
Yeah, but obviously every experience you have, and like with the storm, you know, it could affect the tree and damage
this. It's also if you have a genetic predisposition for mental illness. Yeah. So say you have that there, and then you have several traumas at a young age. Yeah. That can significantly affect you for the rest of your life.
Well, it's like I think a very, very high percentage of people who are paedophiles were sexually abused as children. Yeah. Because when that happens, it doesn't obviously everyone, but it can really fuck people up at a young age, you know, before they've developed in that way and they can understand everything. It does that, and it's like, you know, a lot of people when they're abused by parents, a lot of males especially when they get abused by parents, become abusive when they're in relationships. It's like... It's
the control and it's the understanding of what it brings. I guess it's reward... when reward centres are displaced.
Yeah. Well, it's also like, you know, some people when they have... It's almost like there's two kinds of people in a way. It's not this simple and this black and white, but it's like, you know, some people, if something bad happens to them, some people will want to drag everyone else down to their level, and other people want to push themselves up to where everyone else was, you know?
So I call that victim and survivor, respectively.
That's a good way. That's a good way of looking at it.
So if you are a victim... woe is you're in a bad situation, what are you going to do? If you're a survivor, you go, right, this is the situation. I have to make changes to get through this. Yeah. And you slowly make those changes, even if it's as simple as actually leaving the house that day. Yeah. It is literally just fighting for it. And eventually... it becomes an attitude. I think it comes... My dad said something to me once. My ex was being really nasty, saying horrible things to me. Yeah. And I got upset and I rang him and he was like, look, you're only a victim if you act like it. Yeah. Don't accept it.
That's a good way.
And I just went, okay. And that really means a lot to me. Yeah. That saying. And it's something my family know about as well. So you have to be a survivor. You can't just blame everything else for your situation. You've actually got to do something.
It's also when shit things happens to you, you have to, in that saying, you know, pull yourself up by bootstraps. Like if something bad happens to you, you should get the support you need from family, and obviously you have to be sympathetic to people who are in this situation. But you also have to be, when you're in that situation, try and pull yourself out of it as well. You know? It's almost like...
You can't depend on other people to get you out of those funks because that's too much.
Well, here's a good analogy. Well, I say good. I think all my analogies are good, but most of my friends would strongly disagree. If you say you've gone overboard on a boat and there's 5 people on the edge of the boat and they all grab you and they're trying to pull you up, okay? If you just ragdoll and you do nothing, it's going to be so much harder to bring you out. But if you try and get out as well as the people helping you, you'll get out quicker. It'll be easier for everyone involved. Yeah, it's that sort of thing. You know, it's all about being empathetic to each other and sympathetic to each other, and
accepting help as well. Sometimes people find it hard to accept help. I've got people I love that find it hard. Yeah, But
Because it's vulnerability. They feel like it's showing weakness when it's not.
No.
Vulnerability is not weakness. That's the problem. Anyone who tells you it is either very misguided or very malicious, depending, you know.
But when someone is kind to you and helps you out, you kind of have to repay the favour as well. It's not that people are doing things to get things back, because if they do, I don't give them anything back.
Yeah.
But if it's a genuine act, then I want to make them happy and have my own genuine act. And so it's a self-perpetuating positivity.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's always about balance, you know. You need support from others, and you need to be able to accept help. And a lot of people, especially men, find that very difficult, because men, especially, whether or not this is more of a biological thing or more of a cultural thing, I'm not really sure.
I think it's definitely a social thing.
I think social thing is definitely a large chunk of it, but I don't know if it's, say, 60% or like 95%. I have no idea. There's a bit of research into, like, obviously men in general produce more testosterone, and women in general produce more estrogen. You know, that's a biological fact. That's just how it is. And it's things like it's one of the reasons, like, testosterone. I believe testosterone can make you, you know,
more aggressive.
You know, and that's so men in general, obviously not all the time, can be more aggressive because they've got this chemical going through their body, which is making them more predisposed to that. Not that anyone aggressive is a slave to it all and they should be pardoned for anything, but it's those sorts of things. So with also men not wanting to be vulnerable or not wanting to open up and stuff like that, that leads to, obviously, I'm sure a lot of people know this, but just in case people don't, the most likely thing to kill a male between the ages of, I think it's 17 and 35 is suicide. And that is, I think that's more than, I think, drug abuse, car accidents, and I think illnesses, like, put together. It's absolutely, the number is astronomical. It's so much higher than the next thing down from it. So
I think that's down to a lot of what the different generations see as what is acceptable. I think some of it's bullying.
Yeah.
I think our generations are changing things.
Every generation it changes a bit, but obviously what I've said to people before is, even though a lot of the the grandparents' generation, you know, the ones who were sort of post World War II, maybe a bit in World War II, for them, they had to live through, in a lot of the world, obviously, it was post-war. So everyone had to ration. Everyone had to be like, look, I know things are shit, but we've got through the worst of it. We can fucking do it and get through it. Then before that, it was, we lived through the war, you know, World War II. We've been through the hardest times. And then the parents before that were post-war. And then the parents before that were war again. And it's just like, it's only really been the last few generations. Like, the grandparents were post-war. And then our parents' sort of generation, who people now are about 40, 50, 60, they were raised by people who are post-war. So they're not as bad as the post-war people. But they've still got the parents of, just pull yourself up by your bit of straps. Boys don't cry. Don't do this. Don't do that. Women have to do this like Barbie. Men like Action Man. And then, say, argument's sake, 50% of the parents' generation became more liberal, and 50% just taught the same way their parents did, you know? And it's kind of like that. And what happens is, each generation, it saturates it in a way. You know? And it makes it more
But you said there's more of us as well, I think, in terms of people.
Yeah, definitely.
I think there's more alternative people having children. There's people who are thinking beyond what they're taught.
Yeah.
They're seeking out their own information.
With the internet, especially the technological revolution that that's brought, the freedom of information, where people, especially with drugs now a lot of the time, you know, you release a drug documentary, you can just send it to Netflix, they'll relatively put anything up. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not, you don't have to tune in to the special channel at the perfect time or buy it and specifically go out your way and see it. It's a lot more
You can
free.
go down the high street and pick yourself up a Grinder and Kingskins.
There's people in town in Southampton, they just sell the whole stand. Is literally, it's all legal, but they're not selling weed. They're selling the papers for weed, the roach paper, the grinders with cannabis leaves on them and things like that. Yeah,
it's not legal.
Yeah, but it's the internet has kind of been showing, you know, what the media has been blocking us from seeing. The internet's been like, well, here's all the information, like, almost non-biased in a way.
But you have to seek that out yourself as well, because it's not always, some of the information people still go to, like the Echo website or the Daily Fail website or
the sun and things like that.
Anything owned by a billionaire or a millionaire, I just don't trust it.
Good old Murdoch. Yeah, well, it's like going back generations, the only way people got information was the radio, a bit of news on the TV, and newspapers. And obviously before that was even less. But now it's just like, excuse me. Now it's like we're so much more. There's so much more information and so much more free to do it. When people do want to search for these things, they can. And humans are curious by nature.
It's a tool, isn't it? It's something you use to get what you want. And I think Facebook, and I've never had Instagram or Pinterest.
I have Instagram.
I've never used Snapchat.
You haven't got Snapchat?
I've got it, but I don't know how to use it because I'm old.
I was going to ask you if you had Snapchat the other day, because I've only really got I think I've only got about 15 people on Snapchat.
I need to actually work it out, because I think Maya would be really interested to do that.
Yeah, it's got a lot of cool filters and stuff like that on
exactly.
it. Yeah, it's a lot of fun with kids, definitely.
Yeah.
Also, the thing is, things like Facebook, a lot of people think that social media is awful and the devil, and it's just like, I don't think there's anything in this world that is perfect. There's just, everything is grey to me. It's all...
Everything has to have balance.
Yeah.
So for how great something is, there's something that's awful.
Yeah, there's loads of it,
And for how mediocre something is, there's something as equally mediocre.
Yeah, that's true. Humans are just curious by nature. We always have been.
Yes.
And I just want to say also, now I'm thinking about curiosity, right? If anyone ever says to you, curiosity killed the cat, first of all, slap them for being such a twat. And
it's
not
Schrodinger's cat, so...
I was going to say, it's curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. That's the full quote.
Is it?
It's literally like the quote itself.
A lot of our quotes are misquoted.
Would you know about the blood's thicker than water quote?
Yes, I do.
Go on, say it.
So it's the blood of...
The covenant.
The covenant is thicker than...
I think it's the water of
the
something.
Water of
it's
something.
It's meant to be like
it's
when
meant
you fight
to
with your
mean,
brothers in war, isn't it? It's meant to be...
Yeah, it's the reverse. So it's not blood's thicker than water. I can't...
We're slaughtering this. I'll look it up in a second. But
okay.
It's meant to be. Yeah, blood may be thicker than water in that sort of sense, but it's not meant to be like that. It's meant to be when you are when soldiers go to battle and have this bond between them. That makes them closer than, say, just by blood.
Yeah.
It's meant to be the connections with it.
Yeah.
I will just quickly Google that, because we're a show. This show is all about facts.
Yeah.
Chit-Chat and facts. So blood is thicker. Oh, here we go. Blood is thicker than water. Let's find it. Okay, so it's the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. So it means the blood shed in battle bonds. The blood shed in battle bonds soldiers more strongly than simple genetics.
Yeah.
So we both have half of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all those things, And also, anyone who says curiosity killed the cat, it's just like, how can anyone ever say that? It's like all the great. If we were never curious, we would literally have never evolved. We would never gone. And we would never have medicine. We'd never have electricity. We'd never have anything cool, because we'd just be like, we'd be living out in the woods, and we would just be like, no one would have made tools, because we would be like, I wonder if I put this rock at the end of a stick, and rope would be about then something terrible, wrap it with vines and stuff, and I make this thing where I can smash a rock down really hard, but not with my hand, and then they could crack open things, And it's like they've seen that there's animals that I think orangutans and stuff have started to do that. They've entered the Stone Age.
Yeah.
Whereas they've started to use tools and stuff. And there's an orangutan who made its own spear and was fishing with it. How cool! In the wild. How cool is that? So it's just it was learning, because it was I want to catch these fish, I want to eat them, but I'm too slow. What can I do? And then it was it thinks, and it goes, I wonder if I throw a stone. Oh, that
do you
doesn't
see
kill it.
the thought process? Do you think?
I imagine you can. We didn't. One of the misconceptions people have about evolution is people go, I didn't come from a fucking monkey. It's like, no, you didn't.
No,
us and monkeys came from the same ancestry. There was a thing.
We share a genetic familiarity with them. So it's like we evolved from the same thing.
We're brothers. Almost.
Cousins.
This is probably more closer to cousins, because obviously there's Homo sapiens and there was all Homo erectus and all these sort of other things that kind of went down. So it's not like an actual direct brother. It's there was a being, and then that being had, say, there was 5 variations that came out of that, and then there were 10 variations of each of them, and go down and down and down and down, and
So
eventually
we share the same descendant.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. We didn't evolve from monkeys directly. You know, you're not going to watch monkeys
No.
walk around and become people. That's
It's
not...
like I saw one of those. I hate the Baldwins. Like any of the Baldwins.
I don't know who or what the Baldwins are.
Like they're in movies. They're actors. One of them was in
Oh,
Big
Alec
Brother.
Baldwin.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and
yeah,
then I think his younger brother Steve or something. He's.
Why do you hate the Baldwins then?
I just don't like them. I think their acting is wooden
Right.
and false, and I don't like their eyes.
Okay.
And they all look the same, and it's weird. And they're stupid because one of them was in Celebrity Big Brother, and he was like, well, how do you explain that we still have, is it chimps or apes?
Yeah.
How come we've still got apes? And we're related to them. How come they didn't evolve? And it's like, I don't think you evolved very much.
Yeah. Well, you know, I just want to say, Carla Twinkle does not have the... She does not represent the views shown in Genuine Chit-Chat. Alec Baldwin, if you want to come on my show, I'll gladly have you on, and I won't mention anything about your weird eyes. He will never come on my show. I don't know anything about him. I think he's... I don't know a lot about celebrities anymore.
Well, these are quite old celebrities. They're not
But
like...
Alec Baldwin, he's been doing his Trump impression quite a lot on Saturday Night Live, so people have been paying him a lot more attention. And he was in like...
This
30
is what I
Rock
mean.
and Boss
Like,
Baby.
he's such an attention whore with very little substance.
I haven't seen it.
I just don't like him. I really...
That's fine. You're free to not like him. I'm not trying to defend him. I haven't seen enough of his work to comment. You know, there's a lot of actors and stuff. Well, I say it's a lot. There's a few actors I don't like. I can't think of any because I'm such a positive person. But
I've got loads of actors I love.
I've got loads of actors I love. James McAvoy is one of them. He's one of my favourite actors. He's just great in absolutely everything. Patrick Stewart's amazing. Oscar Isaac, he's Poe Dameron in the new Star Wars. He's in Ex Machina. He's in Inside Llewyn Davis. He's in loads of things. He's great.
Helena Bonham Carter.
Oh, she's amazing. I love her.
I love
I'm
her.
also in love with her. I think she's
Me
the most
too.
attractive in Sweeney Todd, which is weird.
Yeah.
That's just
yeah.
me. It was almost like the paler the skin. The paler the skin and the more panda eyes, that's me. I'm a sucker. But then again, I was thinking about, if I ever talk to the guys about celebrities we'd sleep with, it's pretty much me. It's just like, yep. Mike, that's a dude. Yeah. Yeah, why not?
I'm reeling them off in my head as we speak. Like,
I've got like lists. I was talking to I think Bradley about it in the last podcast briefly about Scarlett Johansson was one of my top ones.
Pink.
Pink's pretty cool.
Pink.
I definitely would say no to Pink. But then, as I said, I don't think I'd say no to almost anyone. I'd probably have sex with Helen Mirren, to be honest. She's like super
Yeah,
old.
I probably would too.
Yeah. You know, I don't think I'd especially want to sleep with a woman who's that old necessarily. But if it's like a celebrity, it's like if you.
Yeah, but she's rich enough to like get her vagina sorted out, isn't she?
That's, I've not been with a woman who's old enough to have anything wrong with her vagina as of yet, so I've yet to go down that road. But I was thinking about this. This is a really weird thought I was having the other day. It was a couple of days ago. And I was thinking, if I had the chance, would I fuck the Queen? And I think I would, just because it's the Queen. I think, but it's the Queen. Imagine, like, actually...
No.
Like, that would be the weirdest, most surreal moment
Prince
ever.
Harry, yeah.
Yeah, but see, I don't... Well, it's obviously Kate Middleton.
I love a redhead.
You love a redhead. I see. Fair enough. I don't have anything to say. I just love... There's no woman that I can think of that I just don't like. If a woman has absolutely fuckloads of facial piercings or loads of face tattoos, that's pretty much it for me. I'd say it's like... I don't mind. I'm not a huge fan of cheek dermals, but I don't mind them. I like a couple of lip rings. I absolutely love one nose ring. Septums are all right. They look better on some people than others.
On me as well. I'd look great with my septum ringing.
Yeah. One of my exes had a septum ring. She looked really good with them as well. I think that's one of the lines that I used on her when I first met her. The night we met.
I think I've had like over 40 piercings.
How many have you got in you right now?
None.
You got the one there.
Oh, 1, 2.
The ear, because I can see.
Yeah, 1, 2, just there.
Fair enough. Yeah, so I don't know.
The jewelry's so small and my hands are so big. And
so fiddly.
it is really fiddly.
I'm sure they get caught on stuff as well, don't they? And then if you do have to take it out for a job for whatever reason, you can always put them back in as well for nuisance.
And with Crohn's, I am on immunosuppressants, so it suppresses my immune system so that it doesn't attack itself.
Right.
So I can get infections quite easily and have done over the years and have had to take some piercings out.
I see.
Yeah.
I love loads of ear piercings. Like when it's like 3 down sort of that area, like the back to top, and then like 2 in the lobe, and then I like scaffolding, so like the one
I
across
had
there.
scaffolding. I've had every piercing you can get in your ear.
Nice.
And it looked good.
Yeah, I remember seeing you over the years, and you've had piercings and stuff. Like, I'm fine with people having piercings. I just don't like it, especially when women have got like cheek dermals, a septum, 2 rings on either side of the nose, and then like 4 rings on either side, and then a stud in the middle.
Just too much in one place.
And it's just so much metal.
Yeah.
And I don't like facial tattoos much either. Like, I'm quite a liberal guy when it comes to tattoos and piercings. I don't really understand dermals in any part of the body.
I don't like the idea of dermals. Obviously, infection, and there's the risk of pulling it. And love tattoos though, covered in tattoos.
Yeah, I love tattoos as well. I'm not a big fan of tattoos on the face, but I think I don't like loads and loads and loads of metal on the face and loads of tattoos on the face, because I find that the face is like the first port of call. When you look at someone, when you talk to people, you look at their face. It's that's almost like the not the main part of you necessarily, but do you know what I mean? Like that's the part that talks, that's the part that can see, that's the part that can smell, taste, hear. Like all your brain's up there, like all the main things are in your head, or on your face. So it might be why I'm adverse to tattoos on the face.
I've got a tattoo on my head.
Yeah, because that's where you shaved it, isn't it?
Yeah, it needs doing again, but I might grow it out over winter.
With tattoos like the one you've got, not to downplay your tattoo, I just find them, I'm like, I don't really care. I think for me, it's like, if it's in the hair, like, it's like, cool, well, then you can show it off to shave it, and if you don't want to, you cover it up.
And it's like the same with my piercings as well. Like, I can wear jewellery in them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I'm wearing it. No, I'm not wearing a septum ring right now, so I don't mind taking my jewellery out. It's an accessory. It's not what I have to wear constantly.
I love jewellery. I don't have any piercings, but, I often wear my St. Christopher necklace all the time, but I also wear, there's this steampunk dagger that I always wear. I've got a pocket watch because I'm edgy as fuck. I've got a steampunk ring that I love wearing. I've got loads of bracelets and stuff. For a while, I had bracelets up to like here, just like all the time. I'd say like 10.
I used to wear bracelets all the way up my arms when I was younger.
And I'm too worried now that everyone else is going to think I look like a twat. And I'm just like, while I'm single, it's like, if I go out, I've got to try and make myself look like slightly less of a twat than normal.
Why?
But it's one of those things where it's not just the bracelets that I've got. There's only 2 that I like anymore. The rest of them are rubber ones which have got band names on. I'm not into those bands anymore. So it's like,
so just wear the 2 that you like.
yeah, but I have eczema and it irritates my skin. It's like the amount that it irritates as well as the amount.
Well, it's not worth it then. Don't wear it.
Well, that's the thing. But I like wearing them. This is what I mean. That's why it's the dissonance in me. As I'm like, I do wear them occasionally, but I wear necklace and my ring and my pocket watch.
I get irritated by certain necklaces.
Yeah.
I get a rash come up around my neck. So I do understand being allergic to certain, or like having a reaction to certain metals and things like that. And
yeah, like death metal gives me a lot of reactions. I had to make that joke. Sorry, I ruined your train of thought. Choo choo.
Yeah, I'm not going to get back there either.
Okay, that's it. I'm sorry, guys. If anyone wanted to hear where that train of thought was going, it's gone forever into the abyssal plane of the void. Mm-hmm. Yep. I've always really, really liked wearing jewellery, and as I said to you when we had the break, I was saying, like, I like painting my nails. Like, I don't do it very often. In fact, I think I've done it twice. I think both times for fancy dress. But it's like, the amount I enjoy it compared to the sheer amount of effort it takes to paint the nails when they're drying, make sure they don't chip, taking off the nail varnish and all that sort of stuff, is a lot of effort. And that is already too much effort for the amount I enjoy it. And also, to add to it, the amount of potential shtick I'd get. And it's just like, even if there was 0 chance of me getting the shtick, the amount of effort it would take to do it is not worth it for me. But I love jewellery. I've always loved jewellery, and one of the few things that I pride myself on in relationships is I'm really good at buying women jewellery. Like, even whenever it's my mum's birthday or something, she always gets me to. She just says, "I want gold earrings. Go." And I buy them for her. My mum's got quite expensive taste. But there'll be times where I see pictures of her while I'm not with her, and she's wearing the stuff I got her. So she's not just wearing it around me. Aww. And she shows off the stuff I buy her to people, because people go, "Oh, that's a lovely bracelet. Where'd you get it?" Actually, my son got it. And it's just one of the very few things that I can be like not humble about, is I'm really good at buying women's jewellery. But all the women I've been with, I think, to my knowledge, if there's one that's listening and is upset that I've forgotten about, I'm sorry. But it's like, all the women I've been in long-term relationships with, I believe, have either had such sensitive skin they can't wear most jewellery, or they just don't wear jewellery. And it's just like, that, and omelettes. I'm really good at making omelettes. And all the women I've dated have just never liked omelettes. It's just like,
So
I'm not good at a lot of things.
I'm not into expensive jewellery though. Like,
It's not expensive.
I've got an ammonite.
Yeah.
That I've got on, because metals upset my skin. I've just got some waxed cord that you can sometimes make necklaces out of, and I use that. And I've got a little skull that's been carved out of stone, my friend made.
Yeah.
And I've got a little stone with a shell in it that they made as well.
Yeah.
And I sometimes wear that on a necklace. I prefer those things because metal irritates my skin, but I like wearing jewellery still, so
that's cool.
I've kind of amended it so it fits.
You can do more handmade stuff. Because I like all jewellery. You know, if I never had to go to work again, if I somehow won the lottery, what I'd do is, first of all, I'd get covered in tattoos. I'd have hand tattoos I want more than almost anything, but it's career suicide at today's current climate. Or maybe not suicide, but it's like, if it even hinders my chance of getting, like, obviously already got a job now, but if I went for another job and having a hand tattoo affected that, it's like, don't. You can hand tattoo, if you have an arm tattoo, because I'm going to have a full sleeve of Star Wars stuff, but just on the hand itself. For now, I can't. Maybe when I'm like 40 or
It's
something.
becoming more acceptable.
It is. Like, I think it's 1 in 3 people who are 25 now have tattoos. You go around town now in Southampton, you see them fucking everywhere.
Tattoo studios everywhere.
Just because everyone wants tattoos. It's you know, I would, if I had more money, I'd have a sleeve done.
Well,
but I can't afford it because tattoos are expensive.
if I had lots of money, I'd have a commune. I'd buy some land, and people can come and work there, and they can have shelter and food and stuff in return, and obviously make a bit of money if we can sort that out.
Well, we're getting close to the hour mark again. It's about 50-ish minutes, and the last podcast was about an hour and 10 minutes. So we'll start to wind up now. But
cool.
Let's do this one last question to kind of round it up and stuff. Okay. Now, obviously, we're just talking about money and stuff. So, if you had, I'm trying to think what amount of money is an interesting amount. Because if I said if you have infinite money, well, that's stupid. Because then you just go, well, I'm going to cure world hunger. No one's going to have to ever work again. Everything will be done by machines, and then all research will go into like medicine and all this stuff.
That's exactly what I'd say.
Yeah. Well, if most people had infinite money, that's probably what most people would do. But if we said, if you got, because a million is a lot, and that would do me for life. But a million isn't quite enough. Fuck you money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like you could do anything. Because you could easily blow off a million. Like, you buy a 500 grand house, a really, really nice car, go on a big holiday, year-long bender. That's gone if you're not careful with it. So if I said, if you could have, if you say you just never had to work again, you had a degree of source of income where you never had to work again, and then you were given like a lump sum of a couple of million, and you could do sort of whatever you wanted with it, you know. And I want to say, the question here isn't let's test your morality. If you said, I want to travel the world, that's an acceptable answer. If you said, I'd build the biggest, coolest castle ever, that would be acceptable. If you never had to worry about your own money again, sorry guys, I keep hitting the mic because I'm too excited with my hand movements. If you had that kind of money, if you had, let's say, 3 million or something, what would you do with it? Like, if you never had to work again, you never had to worry about your feeding yourself or rent or anything, you could just kind of do whatever you want. Do you need time to think? If you need time, I can give my answer first.
Yeah, please give your answer first.
Okay, I've got to try and pretend like I've thought this through. I think I would open up a media studio where I'd obviously be doing this podcast and stuff, and I think I'd let as many young creators as I could get involved with music. I'd have like a music studio. I'd probably have a couple of mates like Callum and Reese who are really good with music and stuff. I'd probably have them like pay them and get them to teach music, music production, things like that. And like, there's a lot of kids who they've got such potential, and adults, people have got such potential to be so passionate about things, but because of financial reasons or home problems or anything, they can't go down that creative path, and then they may never experience the beauty of creation in sort of a non-life-giving baby sort of way. And it's like, over the years, you know, I did a YouTube show with Reese for a while called Visual Digest, which pretty much all the videos are gone off YouTube now because we can't stand it because it's so cringy. And you know, I've made quite a few music videos for a few local bands and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, I was really interested in the radio when I was in college as well. And so it's like everything has kind of been subtly pointing to podcasting. And now that I'm doing it, I mean, this is recording wise, this is the 5th fifth person I've had a podcast with, and I don't know if I'm going to release it in that specific order, so this may not be the fifth one, but it's going to be important to this point. And now that I'm doing it, I'm just so passionate about it, and I'm so just excited to ever do a podcast and things. I know it's still only early days, but it's like this got all together. If my friends hadn't, like, shout out to my mate Josh, who's going to be doing a podcast with me. He lent me his mic, and Paige as well. She's my cousin's girlfriend. She gave me the other mic as well, and a mic stand and a pop shield. So I would have had to spend hundreds of quid if it wasn't for them. But I've had savings, so I'm lucky enough and fortunate enough I would have been able to afford these things. But you have a kid who, say, was really passionate about podcasting, maybe didn't have like an iPhone or something, 'cause you can kind of do it on there a bit, had like a fairly cheap-ish phone that kept them going, their families weren't supportive, they didn't have any money, and they really want to pick up a guitar, or they really want to start a podcast, or make music videos, or, just sometimes kids like to have fun with a video camera, just run around and make stupid videos, It's more what Visual Digest was, but we were like 17. But it's like people don't get the opportunity to be creative a lot of the time because they're too worried about money as well. Like, I currently work as an insurance broker, and the job's fine. I'm actually really enjoying it. But I'd love to be able to do podcasting for a living, or do what I said about helping people be creative and help people be as happy as they can be. But I have to be realistic in the sense that we live in a world where, at least at the moment, there's no foreseeable way when people couldn't work. Maybe if thousands of years down the future, everything's automated somehow. But that's another conversation for another podcast. But I would think, if you can get people, one of the issues a lot of people have with today is that they're kind of bored, and they gratify themselves and they cure their boredom by just going on social media. And not there's anything wrong necessarily with social media, but they don't. You can go on Facebook for 3 hours, sat on the sofa, lose your entire evening, and you've achieved nothing.
Yeah.
But if you've got a passion or something you're really into, even if it's just drawing or poetry or anything like that, you can give yourself. You can almost be like, oh man, work is shit and this is shit, but I can escape and do this one thing that's creative that I love.
Outlet.
Exactly. And so that's probably the kind of route I'd go down. If I didn't have so much money I could cure world hunger, but I had enough money where I didn't have to worry.
That's honourable.
That's probably what I'd like to do, sort of thing. What sort of thing would you like to do?
Self-sustaining community.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Or sort of like farms and that sort of jazz.
Agricultural farming. So you would basically have certain animals graze around certain areas that would fertilise other things, and it's the system of it.
Yeah.
The ability to have the animals as well. I think that'd be awesome. We would still have electricity. Obviously, we'd get solar power, that kind of thing.
Wind power and all those sorts of renewable energy sources.
Yeah, a lot of renewable energy sources. My parents are very clever. My mum knows a lot about growing plants, fruit, veg. And she's passed that on to us. Also, my granddad passed that on to us. We kind of have a fair knowledge of how to cook and look after certain
skills,
food.
Yeah.
That would be my dream, I think. And also, if the money stretched far enough, I think it would be a sort of refuge for animals in shelters that might be destroyed as well.
I can't even go in animal shelters. I just want to adopt everything.
Well, that's the thing, is what if you had a big open space and a positive environment for them, where they could have love and snuggles, and then you could also bring money in another way by getting people to visit. Obviously not the animals who are a bit angry and sad, but
you'd like to kind of almost, you've taken ideas from what the benefits and positive things about today's current society is, and you'd kind of like to use what's beneficial now, but just kind of start your own community.
Well, yeah, because imagine if you could go somewhere and you'd have food. You would, I think the way I'd set it up is you could earn money as well. And obviously, because you live in the real world still, it's not as if
it's not with like 5
it's
million.
not as if you're going to take yourself off the grid or the map or whatever. You would still have access to go places and still need money for things like clothes and things like that. But you could move there, and it could help a few a lot of people.
I think one of the things is, I think I mentioned this in the previous podcast as well, it's kind of quite a big theme of obviously balance, but it's also, the other theme is community. And one of the things I've said in the past, I'll go into my full religious and spiritual ideologies at some point in some podcast, but one thing I will say that religion does bring positive to today's world is the community of it. And I just think if you can take the religion out but keep the community, that's what people need. People need to feel, humans are social creatures. We need to feel loved. We need to feel needed and wanted. We need to have responsibilities and have other humans around us who like us and care about us.
And otherwise you get addictions, or you get depressed.
Yeah, or we get mental illnesses.
Or mental illnesses through lack of communication and lack of connection.
Yeah. Exactly, and that's it. So I think, I mean, our things are a similar sort of vein of kind of creating an environment for people who need it, or animals that need it, that sort of thing. So it's like, you know, it's all we need really. Is that if I could almost have one wish in the world, if I only had one, I don't know what I'd do, because I think, you know, cure world hunger or cure all cancer or something. But then it's like, you know, not to downplay it, but like overpopulation, I could then inadvertently fuck up the entire world if I cure the world of pure disease. So if I somehow had loads of wishes or something, or degrees of wishes or something, I could do something. I think I would just say, remove religion, and in the sense of the rules and restrictions that people adhere to in the Bible, or, you know, the Quran, or any of these sorts of things, and somehow replace it with something which doesn't have the same degree of rules that people would follow so harshly, but kind of keeps the community or something, or somehow substitute it.
I think mine would be allow everyone to have a purpose in their community.
That's a much better one than mine.
Because that would resolve a lot of problems.
Yeah, the thing that destroys people a lot is not feeling wanted. You know, either they're lonely, they don't feel wanted by members of the opposite or the same sex. You know, they feel rejected relationship-wise, or they don't have any friends, or their families reject them. Or if you've got a job that's shit and you hate it, and then you go back to a family who don't care about you, and then your friends don't really give a shit about you either, you're just like, what's the fucking point? But if you have the one core community value, it spreads and it can connect. Yeah, well, that's beautiful, and we've just gone over the 8-hour mark, so I think that's pretty much a perfect time to stop. So, yeah, it's been lovely talking to you, Carla.
And to you.
You don't have Instagram or Snapchat, so I can't flaunt that about. So it's like Bradley, I said to him, do you want to put your Instagram out? And he was like, is Instagram that Facebook with pictures? I don't even have that. I was like, come
that's
on.
what I think it is.
Come on, Bradley, come on. Well, I have Instagram, and I'm at Darth Inhaler, because Darth Vader, because I love Star Wars and I have asthma, so... Hey, smooth criminal. Smooth McGroove. That's what they call me. It's not. That's a YouTuber who does a cappella covers of songs, but you should look him up. He's good. Smooth McGroove. Anyway, yeah. See you guys later. It was lovely talking to you, Carla.
You too.
And that's the end of part 2 with Carla. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. It was really interesting. We got to talk about a lot of cool stuff. Next week, I'm chatting with my buddy Dom. Dom's a good friend of mine. We have opposing religious and political views, so there's quite a lot of interesting conversation that goes on. We start off actually talking about airsofting, which is really cool because he does that a lot, and I've never done it before, and I'm quite interested by it. I think I'm going to do it at some point in the next year, and maybe do it with him and do a podcast after. I think that'd be quite cool. But he goes into details about airsofting. He talks about zoos and animals and our sort of views on that. And then we discuss hunting, because he has a different view on hunting than I do. I'm not going to go into it now, but you have to just tune in and find out next week. And then in part 2 of the chat with Dom, because it's another long conversation, we just talk about religion, because Dom's a Christian and I'm an atheist, and we have this good hour-long discussion about our views on like modern religion and what some of the issues are, and it's really refreshing to have someone who's so intelligent and open-minded with his religion while also sticking to a lot of the core values. I do respect it quite a lot, if I'm being honest, so make sure you tune in next week for that. So as always, thanks for tuning in, guys, and you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and if you feel like it deserves it, you can review us on iTunes, because it really helps out a lot. Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you next week.